Hello, everyone. Something that I've shared this week with my meditation classes that I'd like to share with you all because I think it's something very important. And it really gets down to the real purpose, the core purpose of meditation and mindfulness practices. And that's this week we were looking at becoming aware of certain nervous system patterns that happen, particularly when we become stressed and the nervous system goes into a coping mechanism. So we were looking at specifically whether it shuts down to reduce incoming input or if it goes into overdrive to try to discharge energy. And so the idea is to become aware of this, and once we actually really kind of outlined it, spelled it out, it's be really easy for people to actually see in their everyday experience. But one of the things that I that I emphasized is that often when these patterns are seen or some sort of behavior is seen and so on, it's very easy to then identify with that as myself. So for example, I see that, oh, because of shutting down, I procrastinate on things, or because I'm in overdrive, then I get anxious, I can't sleep, and so on. And then you might think of yourself, oh, well, I'm just an anxious person. Whereas the first step is, once it's seen, like, oh, there's anxiety here. Oh, I'm noticing anxiety. The often the mind then makes the jump, oh, I'm an anxious person. Or anything that we see as our behavior or a pattern or a habit, it's very then likely to then take that on as, oh, that's myself, or I'm this type of person. And that kind of short circuits the actual practice, the actual exercise. So, and it reinforces it actually, and it makes it more difficult. So really what meditation allows, and a lot of the practices that we have weekly in these classes, is, so first of all, that these patterns can be seen. And because meditation it quietens things down, gives the inner space, so we can actually see all the commotion and everything that's going on inside of us emotionally and as well as mentally. Whereas if we're just high speed all the time, then we don't necessarily notice it. And that's actually one of the reasons why there's so much distraction these days, so much to do, is actually it keeps us from actually having to see these things. So, but once we slow down, we start to see it, and we start to become aware of certain behaviors, certain patterns. And this is where, as I'm kind of pointing out, where the mind can jump in and then actually start to judge what we're seeing. And then that takes it straight in. Oh, I am this person. I am what I'm seeing. Can you hear that language? I am. So that's really what identification is. So rather than just having that space from what we're seeing and seeing that, it's like as soon as we identify, I am this, it's like takes it from out here, from what we're seeing, to boom, right here. And this now becomes my new center, the center from which I operate, from which I view myself. Maybe not all the time, but just temporarily when that happens. And this sort of thing is actually happening all day long, unconsciously, with all the thoughts, all the emotions that come. And it's happening without us noticing. We're taking those in as either I am this, or it's related to me, so that it makes me feel and judge myself and look at myself in a certain way, either positively or negatively. And again, with meditation, mindfulness practices, it gives us the opportunity to actually become aware of this, so that this automatic identification with what arises in the mind and the emotions isn't automatically just taken in as me. And that gives much more freedom. That gives freedom, and that gives more choice. And that's really the way that we no longer need to fall into certain behavioral habits and just habits in general. So one thing you can do right now actually is, because the example I use, because the reason why I use it is because I actually hear people say it quite a lot. I am an anxious person. So automatically that's boom, taking it right in as the center that they now are and that they operate from and view themselves from, the perspective they take about themselves. And so one exercise you can do is just to feel the difference in your body is you can say out loud, I am aware of anxiety, or I notice some anxiety. So actually do that, say that out loud. I am aware of anxiety. You might not have any at the moment, but if you have stress, maybe just say that, I'm aware of stress. And then say out loud, I am an anxious person, or I'm a stressed person. And you can feel the difference. Feel it, register that in your body. It's from something here, and then when you say I'm an anxious person, if you feel it more here, more in the center. So this is something you can notice. And this is one reason why people don't want to become aware of their tendencies, their behaviors, their habits, because as soon as they do, they take it in as themselves and they then judge themselves. And nobody wants to be judged by someone else or even by yourself. But this is where the practice that we teach, not just here, but this has been around for a long time, is to observe it. And that then you start to see, like, this isn't me. This is just coming up. So yeah, I wish you well with that, and I hope this just gives some insight on what everyone is dealing with all the time in the society, more and more. And this is why it's so important to really do practices such as this, to slow down so that we can see what's actually going on all the time unconsciously. Unconsciously meaning we're not aware of it happening. But these practices give the option to then become aware, and that's when change can happen. So go well. Bye for now.